Not at all. Let's see.
I take every opportunity.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hit the live on the Instagram also. And how are you all doing today? How's it going? Hopefully you all are having a great day. I know I got some bright colors on. It's probably real life winter in a lot of places right now, but I appreciate the non-winterness. Let's see. Okay. Pull that up just a tad bit. And go ahead and get ready to hit this record, to go live, all of that. So good morning, everyone. I am streaming live from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We are here on this morning's Tea Talk, and we are discussing breaks, transitions, and like taking time off. Because for some reason, all of us awesome folks that provide services really struggle with being able to create some schedules and some flows that would allow us the opportunity to do so. So we're waiting for a couple of folks to come in. Hello. Uh-oh. Hitting the wrong buttons. Oopsies. Too early in the morning to hit the wrong buttons. So hopefully you all have had a chance to get your day started. Maybe you've already done a workout. Maybe you've done some meditation. You've just taken some time to ease into the day. But it's the first day of December, last day of this month, and we are moving into the winter solstice. So there's some different nesting energy that should be coming up, which will be very supportive to how we're looking at creating space for the next year. I'm definitely going to keep shifting. Good morning. Hopefully I hit the right button and waved. So what we're looking at is thinking about your time. And of course, yes, we're doing Tea Talks with Dr.Z. This is going to be also aired on the Greater Self Vibes podcast. What we're exploring today is how do you go about scheduling time to take breaks or transitions and being very realistic about how you're doing that. So most people figure, okay, I've got a full schedule. Let's just say you're taking a regular 8-hour workday, right? There's an assumption that you're literally working for 8 hours a day. That is not realistic. Out of 8 hours in a day, the average person, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but statistically, you would only end up working about maybe 2, 3 max. And the bigger concern or issue with that is due to people not being able to accurately account for what they're doing when they are working. When you are in office, that cooler time or cooler talk always used to eat up a lot of time for folks. But when you're looking at how you're scheduling your day, there are certain tasks or things that you need to be doing. So minimally, if you're providing services to people, especially if it's a one-on-one direct service, you're physically going to need to be present with the people that you're providing the direct services to. On average, most folks probably say maybe an hour or so, right? Let's just make it even. So 1 hour. Let's say you see 4 to 5 people in an 8-hour day, you've already used 5 hours. And at no point in time did you give transition to getting from one person to the next. Did you go to the restroom, depending on what kind of services you're providing? Did you wash your hands or take just a moment to like breathe, drink some water? You just figured, okay, 5 hours scheduled, done. And then like I said, when are you having lunch? When are you taking a 10 or 15 minute just to recalibrate yourself, or even just shift your own energy from going in between providing these direct services to people? If we gave each person, and this may be a little extra, but if you looked at doing 10 to 15 minutes, if we just say 10, that's 50 minutes. We've already added close to an additional hour in our entire day. Let's just give the first 10, we're like booting up to get started. So boom, we're at 6 hours already. You have accounted for 6 hours, but did you account for maybe documentation you might be doing with the clients? Did you account for the preparation between seeing people? Again, depending on what kind of services you're providing, there literally may be like the tear down and breakdown and sanitizing of things just so that folks are having a clean experience. If you're providing therapy directly, like counseling services, just because you're seeing people back to back doesn't mean you might not want to wipe things down in a physical room. If you're there, if you're providing services virtually, it's not a bad idea to stand up, move yourself from the seat, like even if you just walk to the door and walk right back, so that you give yourself a time to close out what you just did with that person, as well as be available for the next person that you're going to be seeing and supporting. With that being said, there's typically a point where there is a necessity to do some level of documentation. Now, if we've already accounted for 6 hours and we've documented nothing, we billed nobody, we received no money, no funds, when are you adding that time in? And mind you, we're just talking about transition time. We didn't even add the preparation. So that could easily be a whole nother hour, which will put you at about 7. Hence, moving way closer to this 8-hour day and then wondering why, in all honesty, you spend several hours at work and find yourself being overwhelmed because there's so much more that you really do. And when you don't give yourself permission to really look at the amount of time it takes to do it, it becomes harder to accurately account for your days and to schedule things in a way that allow you to be free by Friday at 5 p.m. to embrace your Freedom Friday and really be like, okay, if my workday ends on Friday by 5 p.m., I'm out because I'm looking at how I can energetically keep moving. And again, we didn't even take lunch yet. So if you just chop it off there and say, oh, I'm taking an hour lunch break, we're at 8 hours, no documentation, no door knocks when people are like, hey, I need help with something, or there's a crisis or an emergency, or something takes longer to get going than usual. There was no time added in there to account for it. When those things happen, just imagine your day getting pushed back to 9 hours, to 10 hours, and it happens very, very easily and almost probably every day for most folks. With that being said, as these things are transitioning and moving and your day keeps going and the hours just keep adding on and adding on, when you don't give yourself time for the what ifs, it makes it super, super, super hard to be able to accurately attest for what you've got going on. It makes it a little more challenging to be able to manage your energy and to ensure that you're in a position where you can accurately show up, do a great job, and consistently maintain a schedule that makes sense. And we didn't even talk about how you schedule the people that you see. That'll probably be next week. We'll talk about how to energetically schedule yourself in a way that puts you in a position to be able to support what you need to accomplish on a day-to-day basis. So let's say we are at this point, we're at 10-hour days every day, and we're not even behind on things yet. Imagine once you get behind on doing things that are really important and essential to the work that you're doing. Now you've just added another maybe 2 to 3. There's only 24 hours in a day. If you are at a space where you're trying to catch up, you're trying to do today's work, and then you are seriously trying to figure out how to just function, can you imagine how overwhelming that starts to become? And you start cutting out the things that would actually allow you to be successful, like transitions and breaks between clients or services that you're providing. When you start doing that with the assumption, I'll just go harder, I'll just grind it out, I'll keep going, you do grind, but you pretty much grind yourself into a space where it's hard to show up and function. And you start moving into a space of now you don't have as much time to take vacations because you have to call out because you're physically not okay. Like it's not happening. When you start getting into these spaces, this is where people start saying, oh, just take a vacation. Well, at what point can you take a vacation if you're still working for somebody and you've used up all your vacation time because you were so exhausted and overwhelmed, and now you're spending your off day trying to catch up. So you took a day off. You're supposed to rest, relax, but now you are spending your whole day doing work that ideally you should be able to be compensated for, but because the work technically has already been accounted for, you're in this horrible, horrible cycle where you need a vacation probably more than someone who does have everything together and they are scheduling breaks, they are creating transition periods, and they're even looking at what's my what the F time, or like emergencies or things that you just don't plan. Like if you're going to an office, physical traffic, you can't always negotiate if someone is going to not pay attention or not and have an accident, especially if you're in somewhere like LA. Like traffic is not a game. And now that we're back outside, it is real again. Giving yourself enough time to actually get through, and we're only talking about the workday. So we didn't include, for instance, your workouts. If you work out in some type of way, we didn't include time that you spend like filling yourself up. So learning a new skill, doing hobbies that you enjoy. We didn't include time spent with people you care about. We didn't include your alone time just to like be peaceful, maybe meditate, pray, like whatever things you're in. And we're already close to like 10 hours in a day, and we didn't include sleeping yet. So can you imagine consistently doing this over and over again, how challenging it can be to find yourself really doing what you want to in a time frame that makes sense? And I'm just wondering, from anybody that's out there in the audience, have you just hearing how that breakdown goes, can you say, or have you experienced feeling overwhelmed and kind of, for lack of better words, it makes a little more sense now? Like just seeing like, yeah, I probably did overschedule myself. And then of course there is that point of you want to help other people. So then you like go and spend your time helping them when we just discussed how your day is already going. And it just keeps going and going and going. So you can put a statement, put a comment, or drop an emoji in the chat. But I'm just wondering, is that a way that you will want to keep going if that's currently how you're functioning, where you are working probably average 50 plus hours a week and still not necessarily meeting your own personal obligations too? I know I'm definitely hands down on that. That doesn't make sense and doesn't work. Or would you like to explore maybe reevaluating how I'm setting things up and making sure to give yourself time? I know some folks have used, I think it's called like the Pomodoro method, and I may or may not be saying it incorrectly, but doing that to space out work so that you are already automatically giving yourself breaks and time in between different tasks. But there's also this benefit, and I didn't even mention it yet. What's it like to actually shut down one activity and then move into the next? Because I know people like to multitask. They're like, oh, I got this going, I got that going. I'm going to do it all at once so that way I can get more stuff done. But did you ever think about how long it actually takes to mentally switch from one task to another? Say you've got 5 different screens up, and I do have 2 screens, but I'm focusing on you all. So the other stuff, I have no idea what's happening over there. When you go from one task to the next, and you've got 50 million screens up, that means you also have the capacity for lots of pop-ups and interruptions. So the thing that you were going to be doing for 50 minutes to an hour, you also have little things like bing, bing, bing popping up. And you're actively trying to explore, okay, do I address this now because I saw it? Do I wait? Do I keep this running list, which means now you have to memorize everything that's going on? I don't know about you all, but that's not very effortless to keep memorizing everything, especially when you could write it down. You could actually block your time off so that it affords you the opportunity to truly come back to things when you're available, ready, and prepared to. And again, giving yourself those transitions, it gives you a chance to stop one activity, close it out, wrap it up. Maybe you come back to it later and then move into the next with full attention, time, and energy to it so that you can actually do your best work instead of like, oh, I did some stuff. Oh, I did some stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen periodically posts or emails or things that maybe I've sent out when I've been moving too fast. There's definitely some stuff that gets missed. There are some periods, there's some dots. There might even be whole words or sentences that just didn't happen. That happens when I don't slow down enough and start being realistic about how much time I have available to actually do what I'm trying to do. And if you know me, you know that historically I have probably always attempted to have like 5 to 10 million jobs all at once. And while it kept me busy and active and it fed my need to like do something new and do these things, it also wore me out. So physically and emotionally inside, other people may not have seen it in its entirety and maybe caught glimpses here and there. It's very painful to do that for life. Can you do it for a period in time? Absolutely. Does it give you an opportunity to diversify how you spend your time and attention? Totally. But what if you did that intentionally so that you get enough of each different activity without burning yourself out trying to do it? So, kind of going back to where we started at. If you were to only work for 8 hours a day, how might you structure it differently now that we're kind of just pointing out these different things that happen and take place? And again, like I said, we didn't really even eat. We didn't talk about what you do outside of work, family, friends, any of that stuff yet. We're just looking at a typical 40 hours out of your week. What things might you do differently or consider just hearing some of the info that's been shared so far? And feel free to share from any platform that you're currently on. I'll wait. My tea has been seeping over here, so this gives me an opportunity to actually indulge. It'd be super interesting to say, oh, we're doing tea talks, and then literally a person never, ever has tea. So hopefully you all give yourselves a break, or maybe even when you start your day, that's part of that 10-minute transition or so, 10, 15, half an hour, however you want to when you're clocking into work, where you just take a moment, sit, be present, decide what's going to be the priority. If you only can accomplish one thing today, what would it be? So that as you make those accomplishments, you can be good with that and then actually move on to deciding what a second thing might be. But there is not an overwhelming need to accomplish 50 things today. It's let me do one at a time. Once I do that great, do that to the best version that I have available for today. Let me move on to the next thing and make it sure you're keeping in mind what's on your schedule. Like, is it working or not? Because if it's not, write that down so you can adjust it and make changes. I really appreciate tea a lot. I hope you guys do too. But anywho, in this moment, anything kind of coming up, popping up, questions, thoughts, concerns about how to look at some breaks or transitions, and maybe even intentionally scheduling a vacation or an off day once a month, at least one day did you give yourself just to kind of recover from your month. If you can do 2 or a whole week, I think that's a pretty admirable goal to work towards. And it truly does just depend on what you do, how you do it, and what type of flexibility that you have and capacity. But who would sign up for 1 week off every month? Whether this is your own business that you've created or it's actually with an employer somewhere, is anybody else like for having a week off every month? Hands up, emojis, whatever you got going. I'm for it. I'm here for it. Actively working towards it. But could you imagine how much more rejuvenated you would be on your day-to-day to be able to show up, do your thing, be real specific about how you're spending your time and energy, and know that you can literally, quote unquote, go hard a few days here or there, because you're also going to take full time to recover and rejuvenate every month. And you're going to give yourself that. You don't need to earn it. It's kind of a requirement. So maybe a week may not be feasible, but a day a week that you maybe take off from work. I think a lot of places give maybe a day a month If not, I'm sorry. Maybe they only give you 3 days a year. You're gonna have to work something out or move your schedule around where you can get the requirements done, but also give yourself the opportunity to yes, I see that someone was like, yes, I'm here for the 1 week a month off, right? But give yourself that opportunity to maybe structure your week in a way where half a day or one whole day does afford you a little lighter version, even if it's not a complete day off, giving yourself the opportunity to rest or slow down in your pace 1 day out of the week could be helpful. Having maybe some heavy days and then some lighter days and spacing them out and just noticing what that looks like. Like I said, next week, we'll definitely jump into how to schedule your day in a way that like totally supports energetically moving through it and ensuring that you're embodying the things that you're in need of so that it makes sense. At this point, any questions, thoughts, concerns, ideals, aha moments, maybe even topic suggestions? I'm here for it. I'm willing and open. Learning to do that now, like learning to go ahead and restructure your schedule now, I'm guessing is what you're learning to do so that you can get into a space to not overload and front load really, really heavy, taxing mental stuff all throughout your day, or scheduling it even in the afternoons when you know after lunch you're like, I've got nothing. Watch the replay. Okay, cool. I'm like, it'll be available. I do know in my Facebook group, I think after about 30 days, the things start to come off. So you probably would have to jump over to YouTube to catch the replays at that point. If you're on LinkedIn, I actually need to do a little research to find out how long things may go. But yeah, structuring your schedule. The cool thing is on balancing temporary grind periods, yes, and studying for hire to get things like licensure. Woo. Biggest tip I'll give right this minute. Always study during the time. If you have any kind of licensing test, study during the time that you would schedule to take it. That is also the time that you are most functional, aware, and can access all of the resources that you need. If you practice studying that way, you already set your body up to like click into like, okay, it's go time. And you'll be so used to it that by the time you go take the test, it will be like, oh yeah, I mean, I do this. This is nothing. It's pretty effortless. Still scary because it's like, oh my gosh, it's a license, but you'll be so used to it that the muscle memory will kick in and it will trigger all the things that make sense. Like having had lots of opportunities to take tons of licensing tests for lots of different reasons. Again, having 50 million jobs, you could get a license or two here or there. Just some skills I picked up in different trainings or coaching things that I've gone through because I was like, I can't keep taking all these tests. I'm going to need some help. Somebody has to tell me how to do it. So taking their tips, noticing my own, and like putting it together, like, all right, cool, I can do this. On 12/18 at the Your Brilliant Life Plan for 2023, the Reclamation Retreat, will definitely be sharing more information about how to do these things. And if you are local to Los Angeles or feel like you just need to get away on a Sunday, like by all means, there will be an opportunity to join in person, very limited spaces, but we will be still hosting our Reclamation Retreat 12/18. We'll be going a little deeper on these things and you'll walk away with your plan, like actually written out, like how did you change the structure of your schedule? How did you look at what things are making sense? And then we're even probably going to throw in there, how much money are you making doing the stuff that you're doing? Because why do something if you're not going to be able to make any money out of it, right? So if you haven't, feel free to text us at 626-722-5661 if you want some more info on the retreat, and or I'm sure there's some social media posts, like go ahead and click the link or go into the bio of any of my pages or posts and check out what's still available. I know for Black Friday, I was offering some pretty heavy discounts on the next coaching cohort, which we are jump off call today, first week Saturday. If you are an alumni, you are always welcome to come back and revisit and rejoin things. So feel free to like check in the portal and sign up if those are things that you're interested in, just getting a refresher each quarter, it doesn't hurt to come back and reevaluate where you're at so you can stay on track, so you can stay continuously moving forward and not finding yourself like, what happened? I was doing all these amazing things. And then you're like, and then it just fizzled out. So alumni, feel free to jump in and see y'all on Saturday. Folks that have never been with me, today, maybe if you have a little pep in your step, you might be able to jump into this next cohort. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until next year with next year's prices. And I promise you, they will not be this year's deals. It will not be what you saw for Black Friday. It will be back to regular price. And there is not a guarantee that next year, literally 365 days later, that I will offer a Black Friday deal as great as this one. It's like, why would we do that? Because I'm only going to keep enhancing and making it better and better because I want people to keep having continuous success. If you want to wait until a whole nother year, you're more than welcome to. But could you imagine how much more awesome things could be if you even gave yourself just a quick snippet or break and joined us on the retreat, 12/18. And I said, check it out, grab a link, just get a little more info on it, and or, sign up for the next coaching cohort. I know it says greater therapist vibes, but can you imagine? It is for therapists. It is for healers. It is for people that provide services to other folks that are really trying to move in a way that's in alignment with how they want to be, how they want to show up, and how they can actually help more people make more money and have access to more of your time in a way that is meaningful to you. So before we get ready to close it out, any questions, thoughts, concerns, aha moments, new topics to explore? I'm open. Oh yeah, I forgot. We do have a podcast too. So that's also another place where you can totally check us out. We're on Anchor, and I think you can maybe access it through Spotify, I believe. I'm totally sure. Well, I'll give it just a little bit longer. And if not, take it as a day that was amazing, time well spent, information well shared, and hopefully received and supportive to what you've got going on. Hope you all have an amazing December and that it goes super well and that we are closing out this year with some high levels of awesomeness and really planning to close out the year how we're going to start off our next year of awesomeness and greatness. With that, I look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday for our Tea Talks. And I think we might be transitioning to just Tuesdays, but we'll know for sure by next week. Always be 7:30 a.m. Tuesday or Thursdays. For the rest of this year, we should be right here. Again, feel free to share some topics for me to bring up, because after a while, I'll just be sitting here like, and then what? And then? Oh, you have an awesome day too. I love it when friends jump in and share info and chime in and alumni show up and show out. Well, have a great day, you guys. I look forward to seeing you all next week. And for some of you, tonight and Saturday. Have a great day.